Good morning, folks. Welcome back to Wilderness Wargame. I haven't done a whole lot about Darktide recently, but apparently there's going to be a big change to the class system coming up, and we're going to take a look at it real quick because I think that'd be a huge improvement to the game. I'm looking here at PC Gamer. Now, normally I don't try to use kind of what I would think of as generic or big-name gaming journalist websites like this right here, because I find a lot of their articles are well, duh, kind of quality. Like they tell you basically anything, basically things that anybody who's interested in the game in the first place already knows a lot of the time. But this particular one was actually linked from the launcher right now as I record this. So I went ahead and used it because it does seem to have a little bit better information than I would normally expect for this article. So I already read through it, but let's go through it together and take a look at what we've got. The last 10 months working on a complete overhaul of its disappointing class system. I don't know that it's that disappointing. First of all, I tend to not be as critical of things as other people when it comes to games, because I know, having, I'm working on my little list building application, and there are a lot of times it takes a lot of work to create stuff in games. I have an appreciation for just how much difficult work has to go into programming a game, especially one that's going to work on a worldwide network where it has to be synchronized all over the world. Now, yeah, the game design and the networking people are different. I fully understand that. Bottom line is that it is not easy. Now, if what they mean is, as it starts is here, it's not up to quite what Vermintide 2 had, then okay, that's a little bit more. No, I have a VA appointment upcoming. No kidding, I knew that already. VA appointments have become one of the banes of my existence. Let's take a look at what the article actually says. 9 months since launch, Warhammer 40,000 Darktide sits on Steam with a mixed review, both in recent and all-time reviews. More than a few criticisms of Darktide at launch. Unfinished crafting system, yes, fair. Cosmetic store, I thought it was fine. Crashes and performance issues, yes, definitely. Although I didn't seem to have it as bad as some other people. But when it comes to complaining about a game, though, crashing or unacceptable actual ability to run the game at all are things where I will get on board with, with more harsh criticism. Most common consistent I've seen is that Darktide has only 4 character classes compared to Vermintide 2's 5. I find it hard to believe that that's more common and consistent than crashes and performance issues, but okay. Maybe as they got the performance issues fixed, that this is stuck around. Multiple subclasses of peace, true. Now, what Darktide does offer some nicely varied skills as you level up, true. And weapons dramatically change your playstyle, very true. That's something that Vermintide does not have. It was hard not to look at the class system as a downgrade from what Vermintide 2 players were used to. The second way to look at this is to look at the classes are much more like a foundation, and then you actually build your playstyle by putting the weapons on top of them, along with the perks and upgrades, and then you alter your playstyle for each game based on what weapons you've selected. Remember that in Vermintide it wasn't that you had character classes, you had actual fixed characters you could pick from, and that was something I disliked intensely because mainly in my group, I kind of got stuck playing the dwarf, who I did end up kind of taking a shine to, but I really wanted to play either the witch hunter or the elf most of the time, and those were spoken for. It was fine. I still enjoyed playing with my friends, but the game didn't have a lot of longevity for us. I think in part because of that, because there just wasn't a whole lot of variety. You were stuck with those characters. Now, yes, you could change their subclasses. You could turn the elf all the way from a ranger into a druid, but I like the fact that Darktide has multiple classes that you can then customize. Even if it means the less extensive or less detailed dialogue, I find that there is enough varied dialogue that it's still fine. Okay, especially since there's all so many combinations, I'm still discovering new voice lines. Okay, in October, developer Fat Shark is addressing that criticism in a big way by rolling out a complete revamp of Darktide's class system with full RPG-style skill trees for each class, leapfrogging the Vermintide caliber specializations players have been asking for. Okay. We wanted players to get a little more agency in the class. Good. A bit more experimentations, more different play styles. Darktide game director Anders de Geer said in an interview, "We felt like the fantasy of the Ogren was not done. The story of the Psyker was not done. So we wanted to add more. Basically, what we've done is reimagine what a class in Darktide is. This is our huge update. We've expanded the talent trees, added a ton of new options and abilities and passes and actives." Now, what I would really like to see is more cutscenes. I have a different cutscene breakdown for each class. Like the existing one, I think would actually be appropriate for the veteran or possibly the preacher. But I'd like to see each class get its own cutscenes as you go through the thing, rather than having the same generic ones each time. Especially since the cutscenes are well done, but the overall theme of them is unimaginative. The scenes themselves are well put together, and individually they're very good, but as a whole, they're very repetitive. Okay. Which reminds me, I need to get back to doing the abbreviated Ogren playthrough videos. Okay. Under Darktide's original class system, you unlocked a perk every 5 levels at a cap of 30. Okay, yes, we know that. 3 options to choose from each milestone. This is going away with more RPG-esque skill tree, peppered with the same abilities and a ton of new ones. Fat Shark says that each skill tree has 3 main branches, with one branch essentially representing the existing options, the other 2 representing new ways of building out each class. So, there's a picture here. And I guess, like, this would be the preacher, most likely, it looks like. And then this would be the skill tree. So you'll have this branch, and this branch, maybe. Or possibly, this is one of 3 skill trees, and depending on which portrait you click on. Like, this might be the skill tree for this portrait, if this is the one's clicked on, maybe. I'm not sure quite what it's telling us. But it looks like... okay, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You'll be able to go down 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. This doesn't look like enough. Yeah, if it's still 1 every 5 levels, this middle one seems to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Yeah, it's missing a... wait a minute, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Maybe it's this one. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, maybe that's how it works, assuming it's still 1 every 5 levels. But 2 of the skill trees, you'll get a choice at level 15 and level 25. And this one, you only get a branch at level 25. But you'll still get, assuming that each of these is the 3 branches, which seems likely because I'm not sure how many different varieties of skills you can create in Darktide. Given how much of the statistics and stuff are really hidden from the player. Probably about the best you can do. But okay, but that's more variety than you got now. So you're picking a branch, and then you got some choices within the branch. As of right now, yeah, there's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 18 possible skills you can pick from. You can have any up to 6. This is definitely more than 18. So... just right there. That's pretty good. Okay, let's get back to it. In between the major nodes are passive skills and modifiers, and you'll get a point every level to work your way down there. Point every level. If you carve a straight path down one of the branches, you'll hit the bottom before spending all 30 points, encouraging you to experiment. Okay. I guess we'll have to see how many total nodes are there. 4, 9, 12, and 6 is 18, and 3 is 21. Well, that would fill you out the entire tree before. So maybe this is just one tree of 3. Yeah, and there's going to be one for each subclass. It's a plethora of new avenues that players can use to not only choose how they want to play, but express themselves as a player and play style. It's Executive Player Juan Martinez. It's a cooperative game, so increasing the options you multiply by the synergies you create with other players. Okay, yeah, fair enough. More importantly, by the weapons you pick too. I do predict that this will probably somewhat reduce the variety of weapon combos, because some weapons will probably fit with some combos better than others, and it'll be less of a free-for-all. Okay. New examples. New shield ability. The Psyker can deploy further down that branch. Its two-dimensional shield can be upgraded to full coverage dome. This is good. Right now, player defense is really, I think, one of the weakest areas of the actual gameplay. There's very few ways to protect yourself. Other than you can use cover. You have toughness, which the higher difficulties just evaporates, and you have health. And the only thing you can really do is add more wounds or more health, and add more stamina and stamina regen, or it's your toughness and toughness regen. And I just don't see it as that. That there's not much you can do there. Other than that, it's just dodge and block. But there's no armor, and there's no. I mean, there's stuff that looks like armor, cosmetics that look like armor, but there's no actual armor. And there's dodging and blocking, and sometimes it's a little bit dissatisfying. Oh, I guess technically the Psyker also has the ability to block ranged with the sword, and the Ogryn has his shield, so there's that too. Okay. So the Psyker can get a shield. That would be nice. More crowd controlling Psyker. Instead of brain bursting, it gives you blast out psychic shards. I'm not quite sure what that. I'm not sure. Blasting out psychic shards does not sound like a whistle-controlled arrow from Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not quite sure what they're getting at there. How this is going to resemble this. How the psychic shards are going to resemble the arrow. I don't quite understand what they mean. Instead of a brain burst or the shards, the Psyker can go full Sith with a Force Lightning Smite ability. That's cool. I like that. Then you could presumably have a staff that did something else, because you already have a staff from a lightning. I wonder if it would be differently more powerful than the lightning staff. Ogryn can go with a big friendly rock instead of a grenade, with the advantage of the rock going on cooldown rather than requiring ammo pickup. Okay, that's kind of cool. He just grabs a rock that happens to be laying around and throws it. I don't know how different it is. Maybe the difference is that it goes on cooldown rather than needing ammo. That's good. Also gets a gigantic grenade, say oversized grenade. That's cool. An Ogryn-esque grenade. And can get a taunt. Or a big reload fire rate buff. Okay, that's interesting. Taunt for the Ogryn would be something very useful. So we're going to organize everything and reassess the street. Yeah, Fallout 76 had to do that. Some problems are easier to fix and some are harder to fix in a game. All the systems play off each other. Some things have to be cooking for a long time, reacted fast, but it takes time to actually do it. I don't think players expect this fix, but it's a good fix. No, I wasn't expecting this. This actually started before Darktide launched. Some classes were further along than others, and it just wasn't ready. Okay, so the one they have is for all intents and purposes, a stopgap. I must say, for a stopgap, it's actually not bad. Like I said, I did not mind the less developed class system due to the fact that you could customize more with weapons and trinkets, but also that you could customize your own character and you could have multiples. That to me is more important than being able to tinker with the classes themselves. Oh, this is what the skill tree actually looks like. Look at this. How did I not see this when I read through? You know what? I think I only read down here, and for some reason I thought I was at the end of the article. And I didn't fully look at this picture. This is awesome. Yeah, this is way more cool. Worked so intensely with it, and we experimented a lot. No wonder it took a while to develop. Some of the things you will see in this we actually started playing around with before launch, but they felt they hadn't reached the quality of it in the games. That's why we still need to do this. Everyone on the team wanted to do this. We still this would improve the game a lot. We didn't find the right way to get the game launched, and we were working on it. Fat Shark didn't give me an exact date for the update, but it should be arriving this October. 1 year anniversary, arriving a bit later on November 30th. I hope that means there's one more big update in store, Darktide, for the end of the year. So, okay, so one thing I do want to point out about developing this stuff and it not being ready. People a lot of the time you say with video games, why don't they just do this? Why don't they just do that? Okay, so when I took software engineering in grad school, one of the things that you learn in there is, surprisingly, software engineering is not about high-intensity coding and stuff. It was primarily about how a software project works. It was almost more like a software project management class. Although there was a lot of design work too. You had to design the information flow for, we did a commercial website and how it would flow at the high level for a large company. Now, when you do that software engineering, there's different ways, there's different approaches you can take to how the coders are going to actually work, how they're going to be managed. And one of the common ones that we were talking about was the sprint. I don't know if it's used in game development, because I guess I would think that game development is somewhat different than other forms of software. And I never got to take game development as a class. Wasn't offered any semester that I looked. While I was taking my master's degree, a lot of it was, it seemed like there was a very restricted selection of classes because of COVID, although I'm happy with the classes I did take. But not to digress too much. One of the common ways to do things is the sprint, and that basically is generally a 2-week period is what is one sprint. And what happens is you have an identified list of issues that need to be addressed, and each little team in the thing will take basically an item from the list, or several items, and they'll get through as many items as they think they can finish. Now, then you'll publish your update. Now, one of the problems with this is that it tends to put larger problems, and I don't mean larger problems as in more serious, but larger problems as in just taking longer to solve, on the back burner because they can't be solved in 2 weeks. So, and the team wants to be able to show what it accomplished at the end of every 2 weeks because of that. So, that may have been partly why this took so long to develop, depending on how their software management techniques that they use are. They may not facilitate this kind of work and may facilitate other kinds of work. But anyhow, that's just an aside about why I think it might have taken them this long to do this. I do think it'll be an improvement. I'm not that disappointed with what they have, but I am not opposed to making it better. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment down below, and click the notifications bell for more great content from Wilderness Wargaming. And we'll see you back here very soon. Bye-bye.